This is Gemara in Sotah Daf Mem Gimel, and we're holding on Mem Beis Amid Beis, approximately 10 lines into the wide lines, about 14 lines from the bottom of the Amid, as we continue the quoting of the Mishnah of that which the Kohen Gadol will tell Klal Yisrael before he left for Milchama. And again, this entire parak of Mashuach Milchama, the reason why this came up is because this is one of the entities that had to have been said B'Lashain HaKodesh. So we pick it up that B'nei Amoin Bayu B'Nitzcha Shel Shaivach, that the Kohen Gadol would tell Klal Yisrael that the people in Ammon, they came with their warriors Shaivach, and what happened? L'Soif Nafal B'Acherev and Nafal Imai, they fell to the sword, and this person Shaivach fell with them. So it says the Gemara, Ksiv Shaivach, Uksiv Shaifach. It says in the pasuk that his name is Shaivach, which is a term referring to a dove, but it says Shaifach, which means Shaifach, pouring out. So Rav and Shmuel Chadamar Shaifach Shemai, V'lamanikr Shemai Shaivach, Shasui Keshaivach. You know he was called a Shaivach because he was so strong like this dove. He was very tall, like a dove. It's really the area that holds the dove coat. V'chad amar shaivach shemai v'lanmekor shaifach shkolarai oisai nishbach lefanav kikita, and whoever would see him would be poured out like a flask, meaning they just basically buckled in front of him due to his great strength. So says the Gemara, continue quoting another pasuk that is a machlekes Rav and Shmuel, ashpasek kever patuach kulam gibayrim. Says the pasuk referring to Nebuchadnezzar, its ashpa is open, it's an open grave, and they're all kulan gibayrim. So Rav Ushma v'amler Rav Ami v'Rav Asi Chanamar b'shash is argil chayit oisin ashpatois shel chalolim, that when Nebuchadnezzar would throw a sword, it would make ashpatois shel chalolim of corpse. It would make piles and piles. V'shema taimar shomnon b'keref. Maybe you'll say he was an expert fighter, and that's the reason why he was able to kill so many people. Therefore, the Pasuk says they're all gibayrim, they're all warriors. But Nebuchadnezzar had this incredible gevura. V'chadamar, again in the middle of machlekes Rav Ami, Rav and Shmuel. Some say Rav Ami, Rav Asi. V'chadamar b'shash oisit sarachayim. That when he would use the bathroom, he would make ashpasas piles of zevel, of excrement, because he was like a very strong, like many people. Maybe he'll say it's a sort of stomach problem. Amar Amari, says Amari Shmamina, 4 lines to the bottom. We see from here, if someone uses the bathroom a lot, it's considered a stomach problem. It might have kamina, litrach, benavshei, to busy himself to find a cure. The pasuk continues, daga b'leiv ish yishchana, that when there's daiga, when there's worry in the heart of a man, yishchana, you should squish it, you should squash it. Ravami ravaz echanam yishchana medaitai, chanamar yisichanu la'acherim. Either it means that he should remove it with his own mind, should somehow figure out a way. He should tell other people about his problems, and that will mitigate his daiga. We pick his worry. We pick it up in the last line of Membeis Amebeis V'atem Iatem Kain, and the Kohen Gadol tells the people, not the Kohen Gadol, excuse me, the Kohen Mashuach Melchama tells the people, but you're not like this. Hashem goes and fights for you. V'kol kach lama, says the Gemara. Why does he have to say all this, that Hashem goes with Klal Yisrael? Neiv Hashem, v'chol kinuyav, menucha barav, arain. The Shem Hashem and all the kinuy and all the different ways of referring to Hashem, that is indeed munach, is placed inside the arain. Chenu oimer, and similarly the pasuk says, vayishlach Esau Mashuach, and the pasuk says, Moshe, and Moshe sent him elef lamata, let's fall 1,000 to each shevet to the army. Oisam as Pinchas, they and Pinchas. Oisam, what does it mean he sent Oisam? 3 lines down, Mem Gimel Lamed Aleph, Elu Sanhedrin. This refers to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu sent the Sanhedrin, Pinchas, Zeh Mashuach Melchama. Who's Pinchas? It refers to Mashuach Melchama, Kli Kodesh, Zeh Aron Veluchay Shabai, the Aron and the Luchay, the Chatzaitzrai, Satrua, Elu HaShefres. So says the Gemara, what do we see? We see that the Arain is traveling with Klal Yisrael. It's referring to when they go to Milchama. Tana, we learned in the Mishnah. Loi lechina malach Pinchas Milchama. Pinchas did not go for no reason. Ella li paradin avi imai. He went to Milchama. Why? For his mother's father Yosef, who was sold to the Midyanim as an eved. So Pinchas went for Nekama on Yosef. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, ask the Gemara, Lememra di Pinchas be Yosef Asi. Based on what you just said, it sounds like that Pinchas came from Yosef. But how could that be? Elazar ben Aaron, Elazar, the son of Aaron, took from the daughters of Butiel a wife. My love, the Asi me Yisrael. Sounds like that he took a wife of those who came from Yisrael. That was Putiel. And that ultimately was gave born to Pinchas. So what do we see? That the father of Pinchas' mother was not Yosef, it was Yisro. Quite a big difference. Answers Gemara, Allah, me Yosef shepitzbeit to be Yitzro. What does it mean he came from Yosef? Not that he was pitbait, that he used to stuff up idols. Pitbait to be Yitzro, that he overcame, he scorned his Yitzhara. Ask the Gemara, V'lo shvatim and v'azanoisam. What do you mean? But when Pinchas killed Zimri, the Shvatim were ridiculing him, saying, V'yisim ben Butizeh. Look at this, son of Buti, Ben Shabitim Avim Galavus Chavim, the son of someone who stuffed up idols, stuffed in the Zara. So what do we see? Sounds indeed that Pinchas' mother, that the father of Pinchas' mother, Pinchas' grandfather, was indeed Yisrael, not Yosef. Answers the Gemara, Ben Shabitim Avim Galavus Chavim, Yaru Nasibi Yisrael, that's what the people are claiming. Ella yavua diime mi Yosef ime diime mi Yisrael. V'yeme diime mi Yosef avua diime mi Yisrael. Basically, it's two sides of the family. One came from Yosef, and one came from Yisrael. Dekanami, I'll bring you a proof. The Apostle says, "Minos b'tiel trei mashma shema mino." The fact that the Apostle says, "Minos b'tiel," that's in the plural, and therefore it's mashma shtayim. Both of them, both the son of Yisrael and both the grandson of Yisrael and the grandson of. And the grandson, both the grandson of Yisrael and the grandson of. And we continue with the Mishnah, Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, about 20 lines down. After we finish the discussion of the Meshuach Melchama, what he tells Klal Yisrael before going to battle, the Mishnah continues with other psukim that were told to Klal Yisrael before they went out to battle. Says the Mishnah, V'dibru ha'shaitim ela'am le'mar. Pasuk in Devarim, and the shaitrim shall speak to the people, saying, Mi ho'ish, who is the man asher bana ba'yischad, asher lechancha, you built a house and didn't live in it, he should go back home. And the Gemara explains, whether one built a storage building, one who bought, one who purchased, even one who inherited. However, you got this house even as a gift. And the psukim continue, Mi Oish, and who is the man? Sharnota Kerem, that has planted a Kerem is a vineyard. But he hasn't used it yet. One who planted one, and even one who planted 5 fruit trees. And even even there are 5 different species. One who planted, one who grafted, mavrich is layered them under the ground. Markiv, is grafted, one who purchased, one who inherited, one who was given as a gift. So just to point out, there's a fascinating picture on the side over here. Can't go by without seeing this picture. Rashi points out, this forms a vineyard. What's the minimum amount that would have this din of a karem, and thereby you would not go to war if one had just recently planted such. And 4 lines from the medium-sized lines continue the Gemara. Someone who married a woman. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah, not the Gemara. We're having word issues today. Whether he married a Basula or Almana first or second day marriage, even if one did Yibam. And even one who heard that his brother died in Milchama, Chayzer, he goes back. Chayzer Ubala, he goes back and he comes to his house, meaning, and then he does Yibum because his brother was Nifter. Continues the Mishnah, Kol Elu ve'elu Shaimim Divrei Kayin. All of these different people must hear the words of the Kayin, Me'archel Melchama, how difficult the war is, V'chayzinu Mesabkin Mayim, and they go back and they return with water, umazin, and provisions. Umetaknin as adarachim, and they repair the roads, meaning they can't go to the front lines, they can't actually go to battle, but they still have to aid in the war service. Continues the Mishnah on the second medium-sized line. The following people do not go back from Milchama. Someone built an entranceway, a pavilion, marpesed, a porch. Only 4 trees, fruit trees, 5 non-bearing fruit trees. Someone returned his grushas, a woman he divorced. Which we know our marriage is be'isr, but the marriage works. In all these cases, they do not go back from battle. Rav Yehuda says Rav Yehuda says Rav Yehuda, even one who builds a house on its original place, he would not come back for battle. He doesn't have that same level of simcha. Is that called a bayis chadash? If he just rebuilt his own house. Says Rav Eliezer, similarly, one who builds a house of bricks in Sharon, he does not go back. What's the reason? The reason is that these houses were considered temporary because the bricks from Sharon were not strong bricks. Therefore, the house is not going to last. Elu and these she'ein izazim imekayman, they should not move from their places. Bana bayis v'chanchai. He built a house and he lived there. Not like Karen v'chaloi. He planted a vineyard and he redeemed it. He used the fruits. Anoseis arusasei akonis as yivimtai. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Naki yeh lebeisai shana achas. Says the pasuk, he shall be free for his house for 1 year. Lebeisai, zebeisai for his house. This is an exemption for his house. Yes, a karma v'samachasishtai zeishtai shalokach la'avi es yivimtai. Ein maspikin lehem, ein mazim, ein maspik ve'ein. The Mishnah continues. Ein maspikin lehem, ein mazim, ein misakin lehem esadrachim. They're completely potter. So again, this last line is one that the Mishnah is teaching us that, that ein zazin mi mekaimam, says the Mishnah, these are those that are completely exempt. Meaning, if someone is bana bayis v'chanchai, he built a house and he was there once, but he did not dwell there for a full year, or he redeemed the payros, he didn't have the full usage of them, he married the arusa, but he didn't live with her for the full year, then not only are they exempt, they don't even have to do the backup provisions. Meaning the first part of the Mishnah were people that are exempt, but they have to still supply water and provisions. These people at the end of the Mishnah do not. So says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, says the Gemara, V'dibru hashaitim, and the shaitrim speak to the people saying, Yachlai, with dvarim shalatzmai. You would think that the shaitrim would say his own words. He's the one that says, Banabayis, go back home, etc. Shoimer, and the pasuk says, Vayasu hashaytrim, the shaytrim gathered together, dvarim shalatzman. What do we see? Dvarim shalatzman. Also, this pasuk referred to his own words, that only later on, that's when he's gathering them, that is the time that the shaiter, I should say better, Vayasvu doesn't mean gathered, it means he adds on. That's the drasha. Vayasvu hashaitim, and now the shaitim are going to add on his own words, which shows us the original thing he said, Amani Mekayim V'dibru hashaitim, what was the first psukim that the shaitim were speaking? It wasn't the shaitim. Dibru Mishal Melchama, because V'daber, it's talking about the Mishuach Melchama. That Kayin, he's going to be the one to speak after everyone is assembled on Kitzad. Kohen medaber v'shaitim mashmiya. The kohen would speak, and the shaiter would let his words be heard. Meaning, as we've spoken, he would yell out and make sure everyone hears the words of the kohen. Continues the Gemara. Tani chad kohen medaber v'shaitim mashmiya. One brisa just said, like we just explained, the kohen talks and the shaiter screams out. Tani idach, another brisa says kohen medaber v'kohen mashmiya. The kohen does both. Tani idach, and a third brisa says shaitim medaber shaitim mashmiya. So we have a three-way contradiction. What exactly the kohen does, what exactly the shaiter does. Answers the Gemara. Amar Abaye explains Abaye haketzad. What is the case? Mivini gashad v'dibru kohen ad v'dibru in the Torah. Those psukim kohen medaber v'kohen mashmiya. Maybe dibru ad v'yasu kohen medaber shaitim mashmiya. So it's three different parts of the psukim. And we continue quoting the Mishnah, 5 lines to the bottom of Mem Gimel Amud Aleph Miyasher Bana Bayis Chadash V'Chulu Tan Rabban. None explains the Gemara. Asher Bana Ein Li El Asher Bana. For the fact that the pasuk says Asher Bana, we only know if you built it. Lakach v'Yaresh v'Nisin Lo'im Matana Minayin. How do we know the other 3 cases? If someone gave you a present, or you inherited it, or you bought it, how do you know it would not have the same thing? Bayis, in lielo bayis. Menayin the rabbis beis adavin beis avakar beis eitzim beis oysters. How do we know if he built all the storage areas? Tamalam asher bana mikol makom. Says Mayachla, I would think shani marbe avabane beis sharach sajom marbeset. Once for being marbe structures built, how do you know only to be marbe? Only to increase the storage areas of straw, cattle, and wood. Maybe it comes to increase even a pavilion area and a porch. Tamalai mar bayis. Ma bayis haroy lediav kol. Haroy lediav lasbin akva mar bayis ki mashmoy lo chanich lo chanchoy. Prat ligazlon. So says the Gemara, Lema, let us suggest the like Rav Yosef Glili, that the aforementioned statement does not work with Rav Yosef Glili. Rav Yosef Glili Amar. Rav Yosef Glili says V'rachal Eivav. What does that refer to? Zamis Yarei is referring to one that is afraid to go to battle. Due to the sins he has in his hands. So what do we see? We said according to Rav Yosef Glili, anyone who has Aveiros would not go to war. Rather, what are they going to do? They're going to go home. However, one of the prices just here that we just quoted said, that if you steal a house, then you are included in the Gzeira, and then you would go home. So ask the Gemara, how could that be? Answers the Gemara in the top line of Memkilim Abayis, I feel Tamer Abayis like Lili. Kigoin, Ta'avad Shuva, V'yavi, Tami did Shuva and he paid back. Iyachi Avadel Keach, says the Gemara, 1 second. If he did Shuva and he paid him back, then he's the regular case of Lokeach. He purchased the house. Answers the Gemara. Vlahad, Havlekech Vlahader. Given the Meikar of a Teres Gzila, Asal Yadeh, Loi, so the regular din of Lokeach does not apply. And everyone sees we're dealing with a page with a double Rashi, both sides are Rashi, and we continue. Continues the Gemara, quoting the Mishnah. Mi Asher Shanat Karem. Who's one that planted a vineyard? Tanu Rabbanon. Asher Notain Liela Look, I've years Tanu Minayin. Mamish, the exact same Gemara. How do we know if he bought, purchased, or got an inheritance? It's the same thing. Tamaloi Mar. Umi Oyesh Asher Nota Kerem Liela Kerem, and the Rabbis Chavishi Lane. Maichol, Vafilu Misharmin, Tamaloi Mar Asher Nota. Yochol Shani Mar Banoite Arba Ilani. Maybe even includes 4 trees. Maichol. Vecha Misha Ilani Strak 5, not fruit bearing trees. Tamaloi Mar Keren. So you have this balance of the 2, and that's how we know it has to be a minimum of 5. V'los ben Yaakov Eimer Keren b'mashmoi. Loi Chila v'loi Chiloi Prat. L'mavrech l'markiv, it comes to exclude those cases. And we continue asking the Gemara of Anan Tanan, but we learned in the Mishnah. Whether one plants layers or grafts, in all these cases, asks the Gemara, that the same didn't apply. So how can you tell me in the previous brisa that if someone was mavrech or markiv, then he's potter from muchama? We saw in our Mishnah not that way. Answers the Gemara, Rav Ziyam Rav Chisda, Loi kasha. Kan bar kovas osir, kan bar kovas heter. And all of us who are not farmers are wondering what in the world does this mean. So the Gemara explains, Hayar kovas heter, yichidam, what is the case of doing it by fin mutter? Ilema yalda bi yalda, tebulei debayim hadar. If you're going to tell me that it's two young trees, then what's the din? Did he ask to return because of the first young tree and not because of the yarkiv? And nothing to do with grafting. Yalda rishayna el yalda bizkeina. Amar avavua yalda shesivcha bizkeina. If a young tree is grafted onto an old tree, what is the din? Balta yalda bizkeina. The yalda, the young tree, gets bottled, becomes null in relation to the zikena. Ve'ein la dinarla. There's not going to be a dinarla. So what do we see? We see that when something is grafted, it cannot be redeemed. Answers the Gemara. Omer Rav Yirmiyah Leilam Yalda B'Yalda. Really, we're talking about two young. And the reason being is because you planted it for this first. And you wanted it to be l'siyag u'lekayres, for a fence and for wooden beams, and therefore the fruit is not considered redeemed. T'tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, hanaitea l'siyag u'lekayres pater min ha'arla, you redeem pater from balda. Says the Gemara Gavaldik, so therefore ma'ishna yalda b'zkeina tibala, ma'ishna yalda b'yalda d'loi bala. Really, what is the difference at the end of the day? Answers the Gemara, Hasam over there. Over there, in the case of an older tree, then what's the halacha? The halacha is, if he changes his mind, he can't return it. It's no longer considered arla. But over here, he could go back. Why? Because originally the peiros were intact. And with that we continue. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, that which we taught that trees grow on their own. You have to bring arla and it's established as a keren shel shnei shotvin. Says the Gemara, they both are hadar, it's on both of their property. So why did Rav Yirmiyah say the Mishnah is like this? This is what it means. Kerem. We don't go back. Why in that story did all of them return? If you just told me once it's more than one brother, you do not go back from Milchama. Hasam kochad v'chad krina bei ishta. Each one called her his wife. Hakanami kochad v'adol krina bei karmoi. Rav Nachman Tzigamar b'mavrich ilon b'yerek. Says Rav Nachman gets to the case is where he grafted the branch of a tree onto a yerek, onto a vegetable. V'aitanu, and who is the Tana of our Mishnah that holds the Tanya mavrich ilon b'yerek or rashbag matir. Ben Gamdak. In the name of Yusuf ben Gamda, says the Gemara, Ishkvar Akai. So we have a sort of localized machlekes. What is going to be the status of these extra trees that are grafted, that are planted, etc. Truth is, we're going to stop over here. This will begin a new sugya on the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.